Okay, so this final video, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on an overview of respiration. So we're going to look at specific areas, have a look at what happens during the reaction, have a look at the process involved. So we'll start off and just zoom in on the cytoplasm, and this is the site of glycolysis. Now, during glycolysis, we take a glucose molecule and we convert that into two pyruvate molecules. And coming out of this reaction, we have 2 ATP and 2 NADH. Now from there, the pyruvate moves into the link reaction. Okay, and the link reaction takes place in the intermembrane space. So we have the link reaction. Okay, going in is pyruvate, coming out is acetyl-CoA. Now in order for this to happen, CoA, coenzyme A, needs to go in. And also coming out we have CO2. And as well as CO2 coming out, we have two molecules of NADH being produced. Just a reminder, that's two CO2s, two CoAs and two acetyl-CoAs, because we went in with two pyruvates. This then moves into the Krebs cycle. And the Krebs cycle, as we already know, involves the complete loss of anything else. So we've got our two acetyl-CoAs. Coming out of the Krebs cycle, we've got 4 CO2s. So 4 CO2 molecules being released. We also have 2 ATP being produced. That goes with our 2 we've already produced in glycolysis. We have 2 FADH being produced, and we have 6 NADH being produced. Now obviously I'm just summarising it. The overall process is shown in another video. And from there we then move to the final part of the reaction. We move to the electron transport chain, so the ETC. So the ETC, the electron transport chain, occurs on the membrane of the crystal. And it's very simple. What we get coming into this, we have our 2 FADH, and coming out our 2 FADH have led to the production of 4 ATP, 2 for each FADH molecule. But also coming in, we have 10 NADH. So that 10, we had 6 being produced from the Krebs cycle, 2 from the link reaction and 2 from glycolysis. And coming out of there, we have 3 ATP produced per NADH, which means that coming out we have 30 ATP molecules. Like I say, this is just a summary. So if we were just to move down to the base, and we'll just draw a quick summary table. Okay, so the processes we've got glycolysis. Okay, as well as glycolysis, we've then got the link reaction, we've got the Krebs cycle, and then we've got the electron transport chain. So if we consider what happens at each of these stages, okay, we have to consider both what's going in to the reaction and what's coming out of the reaction. So if we look at what goes into glycolysis, we have 2 ATP going in, and coming out we have 4 ATP and 2 NADH. Okay, in the link reaction, going in, nothing really to speak of. Coming out, we have 2 NADH and 2 CO2. The Krebs cycle, going in, again, not much to consider. We've got our acetyl-CoA, which we're going to ignore for the moment. We've got 4 CO2 coming out. We've got 2 ATP coming out. We have 2 FADH. And we have 6 NADH. And this is where it's important to consider what's going in again, because in the ETC going in we have 10 NADH and 2 FADH. With our 10 NADH, that gives us 30 ATP, and with our 2 FADH, that gives us 4 ATP. So if we were to just do a quick total of everything, our quick total, we'd have 6 CO2 being produced and 38 ATP. So if we were just to zoom out and just look at it as a whole, we can see all of our processes going on. Okay, we have our main processes of glycolysis, the link reaction, the Krebs cycle, and the electron transport chain. Each of them playing into each other and occurring where we've drawn it on the diagrams.